Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Trust Factor, the podcast that guarantees success when you implement its divine, age-old teachings. Shavua Tov, wishing you an amazing, amazing week. I hope you had a meaningful Shabbat. We have so much to cover off, yet so few pages left. I mean, we're into a 280 or 90 page book, and we're at 250 pages, my friends. We're almost at the end here, yet in every paragraph, there is so much to uncover. So I'm going to read quite a bit over here, which I don't usually do. But I think it's important just because we got to get through some of this content and then we can actually discuss it properly. So here's how it goes. It says, I see fit to describe the various facets of their foolishness and their error in maintaining this attitude. What's he talking about? Individuals who demand that they will first set their lives up in this world, that they will first achieve certain benchmarks of success, material success. I need a wife, I need children, I need a house, I need $1 million in the bank, I need to retire. I need all these different things. And then I will step up and develop my relationship with my creator. This is the very same creator, by the way, who's allowing me to gain all of these things. I'm going to ignore him for now. I'm not going to invest in our relationship until I see fit, until I've acquired and amassed enough material wealth to give me comfort that I can now detract my energy and my focus from building my material life to building my spiritual life. It's foolish. And therefore, he says, it's time to be able to call out their foolishness. He says, I will expose their great error in 7 ways. Although our discussion may seem lengthy, it will be worthwhile. Because only a detailed discussion of this problem will bring some shame and serve as criticism to people with this attitude so that they might improve. What a conversation just over there. This is 850 years old, and he's talking about bringing some shame and criticism to people. Think about the generation that we're living in right now. Concepts of criticism and shame? Are you kidding me? Recently, we were watching older movies, looking for old wholesome movies to be able to show our 8-year-old. And we were watching movies from the 80s, comedy family movies, thinking that they are going to be safe for our 8-year-old to watch and free of all the curse words that are in almost every single movie today and all the sexual innuendos that are in even cartoons today. And I was actually shocked to see that even in the 80s, some of these movies or even these sitcoms were pushing the envelope and making me feel uncomfortable, even though I grew up with these shows. And the only reason I started feeling uncomfortable about it is because we're living in a generation today where everybody feels uncomfortable about everything. They're so scared. Every one of our words are so metered. Are we going to upset somebody with it? Is this politically incorrect? Is somebody going to get offended? Are they going to call me a hater? Are they going to call me a racist? Are they going to try and cancel me? That's the only thing that runs through our minds these days. And so if you look at the television, aside from the fact that they're willing to use every curse word on planet Earth and insult people that way, that's fine for some reason. But to tell somebody directly, you're not doing good, you could be better, you're not operating at your full capacity, you need to step up and do more, that's going to somehow upset somebody and make them retreat into cover and look for a safe space. That's where we're living in today, my friends. The question is not whether or not this book is correct or we are correct. It's clear that we have an obligation to rebuke our fellow man. We have an obligation to tell them what we think, according to Torah principles, they are doing incorrect. And there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. But the point is, it needs to be done. You cannot fall for the scam that this generation has perpetuated on humanity. They've silenced us from improving. They've stopped us from moving forward, from becoming the better versions of ourselves. Why? Because in order to become a better version of yourself, you first need to understand where you lack, where your shortcomings are. That's why Olympic athletes have coaches. The coaches aren't there to tell them about all the great things that they've done once they've figured it out. They first point out their faults and their weaknesses and their challenges and where they need to focus their time and energy to become better and stronger. Then, when they've applied themselves and they've become better and stronger, Then they'll give them praises. But first it comes with criticism. It starts with the criticism. If you're not willing to give it because you're scared you might upset the individual, then you know what you're doing to that individual? You're stifling their growth. Not only are you not helping them to become the best versions of themselves, but you are stifling them. You are holding them back. You are doing them a disservice. That's why he opens up and he talks about over here very openly that we need to shame these people and criticize them with love. With love, we need to do it as a coach would for an Olympic athlete to say, look, you can do better. You can be better. And so let's talk about the areas where you can improve in. So what does he say? Such people are part of a group that I call solicitors of security deposits, for their approach to God's service is like that of a merchant who sells on credit to someone that he does not trust. I'm selling to you, but I don't know who you are, and I don't know if you're going to pay me back, and I don't know if you're going to hold up your end of the bargain, and therefore, I'm going to charge you a security deposit. He takes a security at the time of sale since he's afraid that the buyer may not be reliable. And even if he is reliable, he just fears that he may not be able to pay him. Unforeseen circumstances may arise, and as a result of that, this individual, although he's trustworthy and honorable, he just may not be able to pay me. So I'm going to take security deposits. That's what he's comparing the individual to. He's saying those people who don't commit to a life of godliness, to a life where they have a relationship with their Creator, to a life where they're constantly considering, what does God want from me? What should I be doing? What's right? What's wrong according to His standards? Those people who constantly set that aside in the pursuit of material wealth at all costs, he's calling them purveyors of security deposits. If you want me to transact with you, I lacked all faith with you. I don't know if you're going to pay me back. I don't know if you're trustworthy. I don't know if situations are going to arise that are going to make you unable to pay me back. And I don't care about any of those things. I don't even care why you may not be able to pay me back. I don't care if you're on your deathbed. I need to take a security deposit because the number one concern for me is, am I going to get my money back? The first refutation, he says, the 7 ways he's bringing here. Number 1 is, the first of 7 ways to respond to such a person is that we say to him, you who doubt the power of the Creator's decree and who do not have true faith in the greatness of His strength, you whose light of intelligence has gone dark and whose candle of intellect has been extinguished. He's saying these people just don't use their brains. They're not thinking straight. Since you were overpowered by the darkness of your bodily desires, you were so easily overcome by the desire to maintain material wealth and to acquire it. The only situation, he says, where it is appropriate for you to request and take a security is when the buyer from whom you take it is your friend or companion who does not have any authority over you and whose orders do not oblige you. Since you owe him no respect and are providing him merchandise, you would be justified in demanding a security deposit from some people. You don't know him. He doesn't know you. You have a very arm's length relationship. He's not even an acquaintance. You're doing a strictly business transaction. Okay, he gets it. He says, but when a worker is hired by other people, it is not appropriate for him to demand the security for his wages from his employer before performing his work. Can you imagine? You get a new job, you go to your boss, you know you're going to make $150,000 a year, that's your salary, but you say to him, listen, I don't know if you're going to be able to pay me, but I'm going to come and do the work. So in the meantime, I need a $50,000 security deposit for you against my salary. You'd be shown the door in seconds. In a matter of seconds, you would be shown the exit. Somebody you work for, you're going to them and saying, I don't trust you, and therefore I need money up front from you that you're going to pay me my wages. It's done. If you don't have a relationship built on trust with somebody that you're going to do work for, it's a real challenge. All the more so, he says, a created human being must not demand a security from his Creator before serving him. It doesn't work. He created us, and we've said that because he created us, he is duty bound to us to be able to provide us with our sustenance. So to come and suggest that the Creator of galaxies, of planets, the stars, the sun, the moon, every blade of grass, every human individual cell, every brain, every kidney, every lung, the Creator who manages all these things on an intimate millisecond by millisecond basis and has been doing so for thousands of years flawlessly. We have to demand from him a security deposit. Do you see how strange that sounds and why he says one who thinks that way needs to be shamed? We have learned, it says, numerous times in this work that Hashem guarantees to provide our basic needs, the needs of every human being as long as he is destined to live. It's very simple. The sustenance might not be given in advance, but it will be there when it is needed. And if we are intellectually honest with ourselves, we know that if we look back, hindsight is always 20/20. So when we look back and we see, we know, and we're being honest, that things have always worked out. We have never missed a meal. Thus, a person with absolute trust in God does not worry about what he will eat tomorrow, for he trusts that God will provide him with each day's needs as it arrives. Nevertheless, most people have not attained that supreme level of bitachon, of trust. So even though we know this, and even though it seems simple, he's saying it is a supreme level of trust. This is high level stuff. Why? Because we're living in a world, we're living in the here and now. We're living where we've made our celebrities and our media and our government our gods, because we see them and they're impacting our lives on a daily basis. So therefore, we attribute a lot of credit and credibility to them, but not to our Creator. And in the pursuit of at least short-term financial security, many of them put all their energies into their business. And when it has been stabilized, they will strengthen their Torah learning and communal prayer. In a certain sense, even these people are asking Hashem for a security deposit, since they recognize that the need to devote themselves more intensely to His service, yet they postpone that higher level of service until they attain some degree of financial security. Even though you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out, even though you've got a relationship with your Creator, even though you've got, like we said before, 8 toes in this world and 2 in the next world, even that is an indication that those 8 toes that are still in this world are you asking Hashem to prove Himself to you first. First, set me up, Hashem. First, make my business successful. First, let me have $1 million in the bank. First, let me have my vacation home. First, let me have my ideal job. First, let me get married. First, let me retire. First. Every single excuse in the world, as if it's conditional to say, God, I need to know that you've got my back. And only then, when I'm comfortable, me, according to my standards and what I consider to be comfortable enough, only then will I step up and do the right thing. You, my friend, are missing out on life. It is passing you by so fast you don't even realize it. I'm guilty of this. We are all guilty of it to a certain extent. We live in the here and now. We are surrounded by the material and the physical. We see cause and effect, and it's very hard to combat cause and effect. I put in work, I get paid. I show up, I get paid. It's immediate, and you get your paycheck at the end of the week, and everybody feels the fruits of their labor. But when it comes to the spiritual means, when it comes to the goals and the desires that we need to accomplish spiritually, it's not necessarily cause and effect. You don't always see it. Like we said, you don't put $1 in a charity box and $100 pops up at your doorstep. That's not how it works. If it worked like that, there would be no test. None of us would go to work. We'd sit in front of a charity box all day long. But clearly, that's not the way that it was designed. It was designed as a test. Are we going to see the test? And are we going to meet the test? That's what he's talking about, my friends. More to come tomorrow. Have an amazing rest of your weekend, and we'll chat again tomorrow morning.